Hello, people of the interwebs. This is Gamer1745 here with a test stream and to see how it goes. And it looks like it's working all right, so that is very nice. Okay, so if you're out there watching this later, presumably, because I don't think anybody's watching this live because it's unscheduled, you can comment below. But we're going to be playing some War Plan here. So, okay, and I think we will make an episode here while we're doing a test stream. I want to see how all of this goes. Hey, IKB. Wow, somebody's actually showing up to the test stream. Okay, so we're going to make an episode here. Ah, that's right. This doesn't allow me to do that for some reason. Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer1745 here with another episode of War Plan. All right, well, you may have watched the last episode. If you haven't, you should. I foolishly got stuck way out here without supplies. So we're going to rectify that. Now, we have survived a little bit of a counterattack here, but what we need to do is... that's a bit noisier than I want to do truck supply for all of these units because IKB knows it is difficult to supply large groups of troops, units, whatever you want to call them, with just old, well, this would probably be just dirt roads. The Via Balboa, I'm not quite sure how far the Via Balboa goes past Tobruk, but that I believe is at least a 2-lane paved road in North Africa. Yeah, we want the excess supply. So we're supplying up these units to hopefully be able to take on our British adversary. Now we're going to be capturing, at least that's the hope, railways here, but we got to get Alexandria to be able to take it. Okay, now let's yeah, 30th Armor, this infantry unit, and this unit out to the desert. But before strike, or before we attack with, ground units, we're going to do some airstrikes and really pound this down. Regia Aeronautica. Okay, well, we've got these guys all the way down to strength of 4. Okay, these 2 units can still attack. And I think we'll just attack. Okay. Wow. Okay. 2 to 1. 2 to 1. Do we do that now? Yes. Yeah. Oh, 3 to 2. Nope. Oh boy, this may be a failure. This may be a failure. But let's look at other theaters of operation, like in Greece. Okay, well, here we have good weather this time, so that is going to bring somewhat of a doom on the Greeks here. Now, they can make it to here, so strike once. Here. blundering this through. Hey, James, how you doing? I'm doing well. The war, maybe not so great. That isn't good enough. Man, we've blundered there. Okay, well. Push back. I can move into the mountains just because. It's a shame that Rommel never got his railway. Being able to run rail tours along the entire North African coast would have been a crowd pleaser. Yeah. Italy, of course, should have built a coastal railway. Obviously, at least I know you're, or maybe a railway first person, but obviously the first thing you want is a good roadway, just because it can connect a lot of local traffic along the coast. The Italians had a significant fourth shore, is what they called it, plan to develop the Libyan coastline. The first three shores were east-west and sort of south/the islands, or whatever you want to call it. Don't know whether Sardinia, but it was sort of, the south part of the southern coast of Italy, and Sicily was considered the one shore, east and west coast. So those were the first three shores, if you will, of Italy, and this was going to be the fourth shore, and they were developing sort of model towns that they had built, sort of a town center with some some housing and whatnot, very modern conveniences, running water, electricity, that kind of thing, with the hopes that it would grow into, well, maybe a city eventually, but definitely the idea of a, and what do you call a city, but how big is that? But a significant sized town. None of them ever really did, just because there wasn't a lot of, I don't know a lot of details, but I don't think there was the economic impetus for people to move out there. And of course the war happens, and that disrupts the plans as well. Wars never go the way you want them to go. There's always always things that will go wrong. Always stuff that does. Okay, now we're also facing up here our fight in the north. Okay, let's do this. Swap these out, so at least we have the better units in the front. Now here we could attack. Okay, that helps some. Well, now we're at a 1-to-1. So, not terribly great. Results not that they were expected, but about all we can do right now. Then it's a city. Anything else is a town, regardless of population. Yeah, very true. I can see that. I don't know what the Protestant version of considering things that aren't necessarily cathedrals, but now there was a lot of in the Middle Ages, a lot of development of cathedrals in, well, maybe even places that might be considered a small town, because they had a patron of some sort to build a cathedral, and it was definitely on an idea of tourism. In the Middle Ages, tourism in the Middle Ages was based very much on religion, religious pilgrimages, and history professor many years ago, of course, when I was back in school, said that most people were born, lived, and died within 30 miles of their place where they were born. They never went further than that in their lifetimes, and I think that is very true. And this goes. I mean, obviously there's exceptions, but this goes mostly until the Industrial Revolution. Obviously, you can go back the barbarian hordes, if you will, that are pushing on Romans. Empire is a case of great traveling, and of course you go, well, the Vikings. Well, yeah, but the Vikings, I don't even know that what the percentage of the population, and of the Norse became Vikings. I don't know the percentage of males that become Vikings, and I definitely understand most women don't go Viking. Even as follow-on camp followers, some did, obviously, but still, and those barbarian hordes and the Vikings were sort of interesting phenomenon, and that is not a normal. For most people, and most of the time, but so people didn't go now again, like in the Dark Ages, latter parts, mostly into the Middle Ages. Definitely, there was the religious pilgrimages. Most weren't to things like, the Holy Land. They were sort of localized trails around where they lived, like around some, just probably what would be somewhere a 4 to 6 hex sort of area pilgrimages, once in their life. But I don't even think that was the majority of people that would be doing something like that. But there was definitely a thing to do, which would get you beyond your 30 miles. But that's still, fairly localized in your knowledge of what's the greater world. And so, what people are going to pick up and move from Italy to Libya, along that. Yeah, I know this does come from cathedrals, were part of the local pilgrimages. Okay, so we have a rather inconclusive turn, but I also want to do, let's grab the German High Seas fleet, and we're going to park it right out here. Probably, well, could have done it before, maybe should have done it before. What we're going to hope to do is, I think that disrupts their supply into here. I'm hoping it does anyways. So if they start running low on supplies, where we have level 4 along the road here, supplies, hopefully we will do better than they will, and they will start to wither on the vine. So we're going to see how that goes. Now, okay, we want to come to the support here. We've just used up some trucks. We're going to purchase 2 more batches of trucks for Germany and Italy. No. Truck supply. And, oh, they don't have, well, much, yeah, I think we're going to do 2 more of them as well. Still leaves considerable resources, I guess, in this game. We have to figure out what game I'm playing. Do we call it ICs or MPPs or whatnot? Hey, Ari. Well, I used to do it more often, streams out of the blue, but as you can see from the title, this is a test stream. So far, I wasn't looking over there. We are streaming to both Twitch and YouTube, as Ari has figured out, since he posted on both of them. So yeah, so we're just sort of testing things out and seeing how they go. we are testing ReStream. It is an online service that is set up to stream to more than one service at a time, if you will, because we're doing both Twitch and YouTube. So yeah, okay. Germany, okay. We got a mech and 2 Panzer units coming. Large infantry corps. I think we're going to purchase another armored corps. That's what we just did. And to those that may care, I am thinking about doing this idea of streaming to more than one service more often, but I wanted to figure out how it's working and, you know, figure out, can I push all the buttons and widgets appropriately. We're going to move these guys up a bit. Better operate. Okay. Yeah, war isn't going great, but isn't going terrible either. Okay, unselect all of these groups, then select the submarines. I'm going to sit out here and mess with the English and Malta. All right. And let's see, we're partisans. Okay. That'll be all right. That'll be all right. And that'll be all right. I'll repair the railways. Okay, let's end this turn. Well, they moved up their mech. The British down here. Worried about if I struck too hard too often, this would weaken the panzers too much to face a counterattack. There. We will see. Okay. Hungary joins the tripartite pack, joins the Axis, interceptors to level 4. Very good. Okay. Now I'm going to save this just to deal with if I make a bad click or something. Gotta go back. Okay, now. Yeah, they're out of supply. We can't get them supply there because we did not have continuous supplies. So let's swap those out. We'll put that up on the front. Let's move the Italian. Oh, well, yeah, make sure just... Okay, that should put them back into supply soon. I want to move these guys up too far. You can see here, currently, once you get to here, you're about running out. You're down to minimum sort of supply. So I want to keep the air from being too far into that. Well, let's strike here. Okay, not very useful. Oh man, well, not good, not good. Now if we can deal with Greece, we'll free up some armor units. That I'm sure in one fashion or another can help. Yeah, just bomb Athens. Been heavily bombed. Okay, well. Nope. The war is not going good. Yep, I should have done that at first. Now up here, well, it's not the best, December, not the best time in northern Norway to have a war, but hey. So we're gonna swap those out, and they're down to strength 4, so that's a good improvement, but still we want to keep pushing on them. Now we did get good old Bulgaria into the Axis, so we will move our Bulgarians down there to at least make threatening gestures at the Greeks. Well, guess we will send these German units here. Oh, damage them. Very good. No battle. And we'll spend the fuel and send in. Ooh, sunk some. Very good. And I don't know if this is a real unit that's currently there or not. I'm not sure. Okay, well, before I forget about it again, we need to move these guys back into port. Yeah. Oh, well, hold on just a second. Let's grab this unit. They can come all the way out to here. These guys can go on port just so I don't have to stack and unstack them. Might as well do it that way. And so, I don't know, not too many people watching right now. I didn't expect a lot, but do you like watching better on YouTube or Twitch? Is there a quality difference for the same thing? I'd love to hear some feedback on that. Just to sort of know what is maybe the best to do. if they're noticing. Even though it's coming through the same ReStream service, I am seeing different different lags between when things are happening on different services. I don't know. Yeah, I guess we do. Hey, Ray. Yeah, well, we're just continuing the other series in this unscheduled, unplanned stream, but and I wasn't even sure what I was playing until literally minutes before. That's why the game for either stream doesn't show up as being more planned. Okay, so Ray. Got a German infantry corps here. Nice one. Already loaded onto boats. The question is do I try to invade down here into, what do we call this? We'll call it Israel. I'm trying to think of what I should call it depending on the time. Invade here. Hey there, Exurgent. Good to have you here too. Or do I come up here and see about taking Cyprus? Cyprus would at least get me a port on invasion and the ability to supply it. Palestine, yeah. Mostly worried about supply after landing, but you know, no, what I want to do here, what I'm going to do here is see if we can invade up here, and then that way we'll be able to, I think, run air supply from Cyprus to whatever units that land down here. So that would be the thing, but I'm going to save this beforehand, just as a if things go terribly wrong. Yeah, I got Palestine. I'm not fussy on people's spelling. Oh, don't I have enough? Yeah, invasion. Yeah, right into there. There we go. Okay, now that should leave me with how many? Oh, it's up here. Landing ships. Oh, only 10. Okay, so we got to make sure whatever next invasion force is a little smaller, but that will hopefully be able to take that. Well, mentioning that, we need more landing ships. Oh, show. Oh, boy. You know, people. I mean, not you people watching, but the concerned outrage mob. I had to approve Exurgent's fat fingers comment What? Yeah, I know. Yeah, don't you know? People get hurt feelings over being called fat. Yeah, but really, aren't we a little overly sensitive? Serious later when Brits announce an invasion, then you can march right into the port. Any Paras? Yes, I have Paras. They're right now on the ground in Greece, and in no shape to do any sort of. Got to get to about 100%. No shape to do any airborne invasions, but at some point they will be, and that is another possibility for parachuting in here or some other location. So we do have Paras. They jumped in Greece, did good service, but I bungled this campaign pretty damn badly. You need the Italian Navy to assist invasion supply of Israel. Yeah, that could help. There's still a British force down here, and I just don't know how much I want to risk it. I'm thinking about air supply from here down to here maybe, but I don't know. I don't know how much air do we currently air transports. We have 3 air transports, so we could do some level of air supply here. I think it's within range. And mentioning that, I think I want to build. I know we have a lot of infantry units, but a lot doesn't mean enough that are slowly crawling across Germany. I got the 1 armor unit here, got a mech corps and 3 more panzer corps coming. In no way am I saying, oh, that's enough to do anything I need to on for Russia, but I do think I need to build up some more support elements like air transport, because that's 120. Really takes a big bite out of it. The swords of Iraq. Did they kick the bucket? They haven't done the Iraq revolt yet. So hopefully there will be an Iraq revolt, and then we will have a distraction force at least for a while there. So yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, production for Italy. We have, I think it's just more trucks coming for Italy. Yeah, a bunch more trucks, which is what we need, but that's not leaving us much beyond that for any real units. Definitely not enough for any air. Well, I guess we'll just continue stockpiling. Bulgaria basically nothing, so yeah, that ain't good. And Hungary, which is now in the Axis as well. They're going to also sort of rely on German production capabilities. But every little bit helps. Well, I don't want to abuse the diplomatic system here. And mentioning that, let's go to the war panel. Okay. I think we're going to have to declare war on Syria, because I don't think the British will do that for us in a timely manner, and I don't think our persuasion here is going to be enough of an influence, because there we go. Yeah, and it's even with doing that, and we'll do it again. 2 diplomats this turn. Oh, well, that got it to 14%. That's good. I don't know if it'll get us enough to get it in a timely manner to get this What I need is this port and this railway. No matter what I got here on Turkey, yeah, Turkey could supply, of course, up to here, but it can't, you know, for an invasion of the Soviet Union. But it doesn't help me with getting this oil supply in for Germany here. I think, and I know they've, Alvaro, really good guy, who's continuing to work and develop on this stuff. So there's a newer version out than what I'm currently playing with. I just want to continue this series. I think if we control here and we control here, the oil would in essence come out of this port into this port and through. I have to test that to see, but I definitely know that we can get the Iraq oil that's all on the rails here out through here. So we need to have that. You may need to sail another German infantry corps to Cyprus and hit that entrenched. Yeah. What I'm also sort of hoping to do is simply fly out some of the Luftwaffe. I'm not sure I'm doing, just because I haven't blitzed yet into here. I don't know if I'm doing a 41 invasion of the Soviet Union. Well, on that note, the live stream isn't going anywhere. But we're going to end this episode, those watching later on YouTube. Thanks for watching. Thanks for liking. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. And, of course, post questions, comments, suggestions, tips. See you next time for more historical gaming. Okay, we're going to then start and make another episode. Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer 1745 here with my continuing playthrough of Warplan. And we're playing this live on both Twitch and YouTube simultaneously. So I'm trying to, well, right now only people are commenting on the YouTube channel, but there are a few watching over on the Twitch channel, which is nice. Okay. Bevan Alexander, sort of a strategic historian, pretty good. I like what I've read of his work. One of the books is, I believe the title is How Hitler Could Have Won World War II, or something close to that. Highly recommend it. I've long believed, he just sort of confirms my belief. Obviously, people who confirm your belief, you like what they say. That had Hitler secured the Mediterranean, the second half of 40 through to 41, if he had done that and then attacked the Soviet Union in 42, Hitler could have won the war. And I'm not saying it's like, oh, for sure Hitler would have won. No. Oh, okay, Xurgen's read that. Yep. And he's also done some other stuff. I'm just blanking on some of his other titles. I've read at least one of these other books. I think he's written 5 or 6, but you can look him up on YouTube. I mean, on Amazon. I believe, well, I'm sure that Hitler, if Germany had, not so much saying Hitler's a pedestrian or what, mediocre at best at any sort of real operational strategy. I'm not saying he doesn't understand. He was a corporal in World War I. Yes, he understands the basics of, of warfare, but beyond that, he's no brilliant person, though he can at times spot people. He wants to go with the daring plans, and sometimes people with daring plans do it right. So the Kriegsmarine can definitely support operations in the Mediterranean. It is a professional navy, but it is not a, we're going to have a war-winning capital fleet navy. It just doesn't have the industrial or powers or traditions or capabilities to do that. And I just have got, let me see here. I'm going to go over to this. I'm going to transit. Well, I'm not going anywhere really, but I'm just going to go look for another image here. I want to show something I saved off today. Okay. Right. Okay. Okay, we're going to transition over this. This is an emblematic photo of why America is undefeatable and why it won in World War II. Now, I'm arguing that Germany could possibly win. I would mention in the last World War episode of the invasion points left. We're down to only 10 invasion points after that last invasion. But here is the battleship West Virginia, BB-48, having its screws repaired by the USS Artisan. I didn't know of this, specifically this USS Artisan, at Espiritu Santos in November 44. So here is a floating dry dock. It's officially listed as a ship here, but a floating dry dock that they move out into the Western Pacific to fix the screw. I mean, it's there anyways. I don't know, to support naval operations. And it's fixing the screws of this battleship so it can go across there. No other nation on the planet in 1944 had the industrial capacity to do all that it's already doing, fighting a war, and build one of these things. I mean, obviously Britain or Germany could have built one of these, but not and build everything else it's doing. This is clearly why the U.S. was such the industrial might and why it was so undefeatable. It just says it in this picture that, oh yeah, we need to fix a battleship. Yeah, we have this. I mean, I don't know whether it was sitting over on the Pacific, or the west coast of the U.S., and they shipped it out there, or they just shipped it out there just because, hey, some ship's going to need it. Whatever. I don't know the story behind that, beyond that, of a big floating dry dock. But yeah, that is why the U.S. is basically undefeatable in World War II. We're going to minimize that. Yes. Oh, we got to capture Alexandria. Absolutely. Green Med is quite hard to operate, even with the Med secured. I think it would be more important to cut the Suez Canal. Yeah. So, but it's a professional Navy, so it can support operations. The most advanced element of the Italian armed forces was its Navy. And we know how well that did. But what really could have operated and they really put down there would be the Luftwaffe, and sort of like I've done here is concentrated on some of the mechanized forces down here into Africa, or the Mediterranean, but North Africa primarily, and sealed that up. Surgeon's very right. Sealing up, the Suez Canal, somehow taking / neutralizing Gibraltar, but making it untenable as a base. That forces the Anglo-Americans to fight down here. Those who've studied history, and I know many of you have who are watching this, that fighting down is quite possible down in the Sudan at this time. Again, we can see the Americans, hell, they could build some railways across the Sudan. I mean, more than just what was already sort of there. But that's still a very limited front. And again, if the Germans take this, you're looking at relatively small fronts, relatively easy to defend, compared to once you drive the Italian German forces out of North Africa, you've got to defend all of this. It's not as the soft underbelly that Churchill always said, but you still have to defend it all. And okay, yeah, we know the Allies aren't going to make any landings in the Adriatic until they've secured, either parts of Italy or Greece, just because it would be untenable to just, launch from North Africa up here for air attacks. So, but once they are, get Taranto or some other place like this, then you've got to start worrying about, all this coast. And we can see, so they're doomed if you have to have a disputed Mediterranean. Now, if you get the Mediterranean, and then, which I think it's possible, it's a difficulty, then defeat the Soviets. if you can defeat the Soviets, because you have to remember, war is a political action, war is a morale action. It is not purely industry. It is not purely, how many guns you can pump out or how many people you can have in the field. Currently reading through, I forget who it is, recent as in the last 10 or 20 years. Not Napier, but another guy writing on the Peninsula War. I'm on his second series, talking about the Peninsula War. That's the Napoleonic War for those of you who don't really know. Driving the German Jewish atomics. Well, we can see a lot of internal, often related to the Jews, but also related to other things, internal practices that really, really disrupt Germany's war economy that had they not done for ideological reasons. And the ideological reasons, obviously the Jews were the worst enemy, but they wanted to get rid of Poles and other people, and get rid of as in, read some stuff, Hitler's Empire, another great book I can recommend, where the Germans were sort of wondering when they came to sort of confiscate farms, the farmhouse was all abandoned in a nice condition, because the Poles learned that when the scouting teams would come by and sort of scout out what farms they were going to take away from Poles and give to Germans, often German people, well, some Germans from Germany, but often Germans from the Baltic states, the Poles knew they had to sort of clean up and be ready to get out. So they often sort of scouting onto it. I mean, it's like reading about how one woman, I think it was in Warsaw, but it could be in, Lodz or Krakow or wherever, she got like a 2-hour notice that she had to clean up her apartment, make sure all of her dishes and all of her possessions were all nice and neat and clean, and then get the hell out of her apartment because a German family was going to move into her home. Oh, I hope you're not saying anything too bad. If you invade Germans, puppets will join the Allies. Or be in denial, join the Axis. Okay. So yeah, it's grim reading what the Germans were doing to the Poles, let alone the Ukrainians and other peoples. For ideological, and it's racial ideological reasons, is at the heart of a lot of this. And they were making they were taking, and there's many cases in which they were taking Germans that had little or no capacity to run a farm and stick them on a farm and watch that farm fail. And some of them may very well be rural people that have some, outdoor sort of work, but they're not proper farmers. They don't know all there is to know about farming to properly run a farm. So you get these people, you get a Polish farmer who would be willing to run his farm for a profit, to be able to sell what he produces, food, to help feed people in Europe, the German Empire, is being kicked off of his land. So now he becomes a mouth that needs to be fed, and who very well may be conscripted into some sort of war work in Poland, or sent into Germany for other war work at some point. So yeah, he may work, but it's not necessarily work he's trained to do or good at doing particularly. And yeah, there's a lot of rote stuff with manufacturing back then. But hey, you had a professional, if you will, high quality farmer raised in it, had a farm, knew how to do that, and now he's doing some simplistic work in some helmet making factory or something like that. Yeah, that may be useful in a helmet making factory, but it would be more useful to have a farm that every single thing he can make, grow, will be sold for even if it's price controlled and whatnot, but the demand would be there. There's no competition from imports from America or Latin America or any other place. It's everything you can produce on food wise gets sold to a government because of rationing kind of things. You sell it to a government service type situations or black market kind of stuff. So they're making massive ideological decisions that are hurting the war effort. So even with the Nazis still being Nazis, We're not saying, oh, the good German fairies come in, or, the good fairy comes in to make the Germans good people, and then how do they conquer the world? No, they're still Nazis, but they didn't have to make such bad choices in the middle of the war. They were just, bad as some communists and making bad things. ReStream, check out Wikipedia page. Hunger Plant. Yes, absolutely. There's a lot of that kind of stuff going on. And you have the Holodomor going on in Ukraine under the Soviets. It's by the time World War II starts, the Ukraine is producing a goodly amount of food. And then you have the Germans come in and are greeted as, liberators. Hooray for the Germans. And you get, throughout the whole occupation period, you always have a significant force of Ukrainians in one way or another carrying arms in at least an anti-Bolshevik manner. I'm sorry. Could say for the Germans. Well, it's not that they're doing it for the Germans. They're doing it for other reasons. Now, some of them, I think, very much regret that they're supporting the Germans, but they can't easily change sides, and they see the Soviets as just as bad. It's between a rock and a hard place. Now, the Germans, of course, pull huge amounts of food out of Ukraine. I don't know if it is... I don't know. Not saying it was or wasn't, but I don't know if it was as bad as the Holodomor, generally speaking, overall, for the Ukrainians. And even if it was as bad, it's also happening in the middle of a war, which is both making it worse and making it worse in both the sense of the war is disrupting things, but you're also having people shooting at you, guerrillas and whatnot, all happening around here. So it's worse on many other levels. So I don't know the starvation level, but I also know, again, reading the book Hitler's Empire, another, like I said, really good look at some of the stuff. All the people with talent in the German bureaucracies, both the party bureaucracy and the government bureaucracy, because that's all, they're competing, duplicating efforts and competing at the same time. The NSDAP bureaucracies and the German government bureaucracies on many things. The people that volunteered, especially for it, and a lot of it was run by the party, for occupation management, shall we say, were people that didn't have better prospects back in the centers of power. Including, now one guy, I forget, and I can't keep track of all the names and who. One guy it was either in eastern Poland or somewhere out in the Ukraine. He spent about 70% of his time back in Germany, if not Berlin itself, but back here. And so he was sort of an absentee. I don't know if it was quite the local Reichskommissariat or whatever, but fairly high up in whatever region he was. So, and traveling back and forth by train because he really didn't want to be out here. So there's a lot of incompetence. There's a lot of people that might not necessarily be incompetent in whatever they know before, but they're like, a party union boss that then gets put in charge of something way out of his skill set. And other party hacks that are put out here that are often ideological to the National Socialist racial plans. And so they're making bad administrative decisions in the Ukraine and Eastern Poland, as well as, just the overall situation. So at first there's a bunch of Ukrainians that want to help the Germans manage this situation because they see the Germans as either liberators, though I'm sure they have some idea that Germany is sort of looking at territorial expansionism, but they don't quite understand that even if it does become part of Germany, they're not going to just be maybe second-class citizens in a new and better country. Their ultimate goal is to depopulate this area of the local. Hey, Nick. depopulate this area of the local Ukrainians. Some of that is definitely the idea of repopulating them somewhere else, but the hunger plan kind of thing is also a real part of the depopulation. Really had lost the plot, yeah. Hitler cut back industrial output. Oh, yeah. Oh, well. Hitler cuts back industrial output, particularly after the fall of France, because most people thought the war, doing air quotes, but you're not seeing me, is over because they've defeated France. Oh, sure, there's those bombings going on in London, and there's submarines out in the Atlantic, and of course, depending, eventually, there's Rommel. I mean, that sort of happens just about, getting ready for going after the Soviet Union. But there's the Italians out in the Mediterranean, shall we say, fighting the British. But those are just, colonial things out on the edges. And they cut back production on things like tanks because, well, we realized we got to have new tanks, new models of tanks. So we don't need to keep making these old models of tanks. So they cut back on production rates when, yep, they should have been just even producing the old models. We're going, oh, okay, I will show this because I'm trusting Ray. I wish, Ari is not a administrator here. Probably should need to add your administrator qualities here, Ari, for YouTube, because then he could approve these, because he is, moderator, I guess to say, not administrator, over on Twitch. I don't know that he was daring and brilliant, but Hitler doesn't understand the international realities, in my opinion. Just doesn't get it. He understands German politics. He thinks he's got everybody's measure over the Sudetenland, and he massively miscalculates over Poland, which ultimately loses it. So I'm maybe stupidly reckless and not very brilliant in his situation and his gambling. Hitler was a gambler, yes, absolutely. He gambled. He as time goes on, he believes that there is a higher power, and there's books written on that, and I've read several. One's called, I think, Hitler's Religion, and the other's Hitler's Monsters. But they both sort of look at some of the sort of, if you will, belief systems put out there. He believes that there's, whether it's not necessarily like God as in the Jewish God, but he believes that there's some higher power looking out after. Okay. Yeah, Ray, can we, just because I'm having to do this, can we use the term National Socialist? I know it means more typing, but use in text National Socialist. YouTube thinks socialist is a good thing. They don't put the two words together. So when you talk about National Socialists, they think you're talking about some good group of people, so they like to auto approve that, and it will make them think that this is a better stream than whatnot. So yeah, so he is a gambler, and it's not good gambling, shall we say, in my opinion. It's not Rommel's type of tactical gambling. It's big strategic blunders. Hell, he starts a world war accidentally. How big of a strategic blunder can you get? Okay, well, I think it is, let's look at our naval situation. Okay, that's good. I just wanted to check that out. And thank you, Very Loud Motorcycle. Okay, and we're blockading them up here in Narvik. Okay, well, let's end this turn. I know I've been talking a lot. Yes, end turn. Well, I don't think it's just the British. I think it could be everything from worrying about modern German legal elements to modern day American wokeness. Well, I think Hitler was wrong. It wouldn't. No, I think Hitler's wrong on that. Okay, Romania joins on, and I wish I had a better way to record some of this stuff. I guess if they watch this, they'll see this. Send in paratroopers. One of the worst mistakes was when he sent in the Panzer Corps down instead of sending it to Stalingrad. Socialists. I mean, yeah. Oh, them not liking the term. Well, national social. See, just national isn't a nationalist is different. See, if you're just saying national socialist, national isn't a problem. Socialist isn't a problem to the YouTube algorithms. So national socialism is the best thing to do for it. Okay, so Romania joins. Romania stopped its trade, which we're gonna have to deal with. Yes. Okay. Basic supply for them. And the Mediterranean. Okay, we didn't lose anything there. Good. So the Italians did not lose, and we sunk some of their forces. Okay, so we have some level of supply, level 1 supply, which is good there. And we have level 6 supply into here. Okay, well, let's finish up. It's raining, so the air won't be as effective, but we're going to pound these guys hard. Athens just got pounded all to hell. Oh man, these guys are really... We've got to move the Paras down here. Man, this is really not working out well. Well, there we go. Got these guys done. That worked out okay. So we have Cyprus, have its resources. Now we are closer here to hopefully now light damage. Got one there. Oh, you're still too far away. Okay, well, at least we have some air attack. Four to 1. Very good. Okay, we will move you in and not bother to attack. No, we're not attacking, but we are just making sure it was a mistake. So I'm going to, well, there is that 11th strength unit up to, but that was a mistake to do. That was a mistake to do that without the air attack first. Okay, well. At least now we have the supply of Alexandria. That will help us out. No, well, okay. Those of you watching later, okay. Don't know. Aries saying Moscow would have turned into another Stalingrad, or it could have turned into another Moscow, like it for Napoleon. Warfare is a political act. Warfare, and politics and warfare then by because it is a political act, turns a lot on perception. Okay, on perception. If you create the perception of we're doomed, we've lost, it's over, you win the war. You don't have to kill every last person to win that war. And so, had Germany been able to storm into Moscow, I don't know. The citizens might have turned it into a Stalingrad and might have just fought it out, and the Kremlin, which basically means fort or whatever in Russian, might have been, another Stalingrad, deadly battle kind of thing. Might very well. Or they might have just gone, yay, we got rid of Stalin, yay, you Germans must be good guys, yay, and cheer, a percentage of the population sort of cheered as the German tanks rolled in. And they got a hit earlier than they did historically, meaning they got to get there earlier in the year. It's not so much the date, but in the year, and come in a lot stronger than they did. So you might very well have the situation where different factions within the Soviet Union, some may still be very Soviet-ish, but are anti-Stalinish, whether you want to call them Trotskyites or just, obviously he's been killed out in Mexico. What is it, 1940, I believe, or is it 39 or 40 or whatever? Trotsky's killed with an ice pick in Mexico. But whether you want to call them Trotskyites or something else, that thinks that they could, do another sort of like Brest-Litovsk that the Bolsheviks did with Germans in World War I. Settlement, huge tracts of territory, the Baltic states, Ukraine, whatnot, to Germany, and so that Moscow is now truly on the western edge of Russia or of the Soviet Union, and set up a new Soviet world, or whether you want to see a neo-fascist, or not neo at the time, a fascist uprising movement. There was definitely elements of that going on, or return of the czars, or the Mensheviks, or whatever you want to, factions that were anti-Stalinist that could appear up and try to think that they could do some settlement. And Hitler was very willing to do some sort of settlement with Russians. So very willing to do that. But I don't know if the people, what they would have had to agree to. Look at Leningrad, suggested it would never have happened. The city was encircled the majority of the Germans. We're obviously talking about a what-if scenario, so that's very hard to do. But we're talking about a scenario that is probably something that is either Stalin has already been deposed as incompetent, because he was nearly deposed within the first week or so, I would say. Week to 10 days. Had he not got out of his funk, he would have been deposed, because he was in sort of shock for a while. He may have already been deposed, or he's fled Moscow for some other place. If he's done that, that shows a lot of political weakness. And so I know there are lots of Russians that really don't want to be controlled by the Soviets. So Yeah. I'm just going that Hitler is wrong in all of this idea that you're talking about. On the plan, I'm not saying what the German army necessarily wanted to do was the right or the best thing. I do just think it was better than... Okay, we're not deploying the airfield. That I don't know where I want to put it yet. Okay, well, we want to look over here. Romania. Okay, now we can look at convoys, and we can see here we now have 40 oil from Romania to us, 5 industrial points from Romania, Hungary, 2 from Bulgaria. These are our allies slash puppets slash whatever. So they're feeding that in while they're just having 3, 6, and 6. So we may need to feed more industrial strength back. Well, scouring the Caucasus would naturally be important. Yes. Okay, I'm not going to let your comment go out there, Ari. I already said we're going to use... Hide that. Yeah. View deleted. We're going to use the term National Socialist here because it is accurate, correct, and the YouTube algorithms don't get its association. Yeah, we're just marching. Okay, well, they're back at 5. Well, not quite is. Okay, you can just elaborate on the Axis allies of Romanian mechanism, please. Okay, basically what is happening here is, in this game, when I was looking the other day, it wasn't showing me trade convoys. I don't know why. Turning this on and off. No. Statistics on, off, no. It should be, again, I don't know what's not working about with that, but we can come over here and see in this convoy. Now, if I turn this on when I'm in this panel, no. Okay, well, currently our Swedish, because it's winter and they have Narvik, we're not getting 25. This is really hurting us. We're not getting the 25 production from... It sort of simplified this whole thing, as in you have production in oil, which is they represent it with steel. So right now, Italy and Germany are the 2 main players. Everything is coming through one of those 2. Basically, at this point at least, Italy does not have any sub-components country-wise. Germany does have Bulgaria, Hungary, and Romania. So Romania, we can look here, they're sending us per turn 40 units of oil and 5 units of production, steel, whatever you want to call it, resources. You're sort of abstracting as that. So if we want to say have Romania build another, let's say a small infantry corps, that's going to take 400 or 144. Obviously, they're not going to be able to do it right now, and we're going to see what's going on. But they have a stockpile of 6 and a production of 6 for their resources. So we can go, okay, we want Romania to say build some truck transports eventually, so that they can, if needed be, have some truck transport. So we can come over to here, and from Germany to Romania, create a trade convoy set up here, and it's going to be, it will go overland. So convoy, take that as or create trade, take that as overland as well as via the sea. And so we're going to let's say give them 6. We're going to give them 6. And so now every turn we will see this convoy, this arrow of 6 resources going out to Romania. So we'll see that next turn of how that goes. And yeah, oh yeah, no, those purges were devastating to the Soviets. Just completely devastating. And so, yeah, in a way, you're sort of sending them back. As we could see, Romania just isn't going to have the resources really to build any new units here. So, well, let's cut these guys off over here. So they're not going to have, you know, build more forces here. So instead of necessarily having them slowly build up a, you know, stockpile here of stuff, they might as well contribute to the German overall production. So that's sort of the thinking there. No, we're just going to let that sit there. I'm rather displeased with myself and how things are going. In quality, okay. When you come to here, there won't be here because, well, there. When you come to Italy, no, let's come to here. If we go, we see Germany. They have levels of armored forces. If we're picking a 42, you can build it as something lesser that will sort of upgrade slash, because this is reinforce slash upgrade, and that's sort of what the upkeep cost is, maxing out at 100 per turn. So you can build it as a cheaper unit and have it upgrade over time. So we can do a 42 armor unit for Germany. For Italy, we can only do a 39 armor unit because it hasn't advanced up. Germany here again, or I'll come over to Romania here for armored unit. We can do a 42 because it's presuming for this game, from again some things I've read of Alvaro's, is that it's really coming out of German factories, even though you're building it with the manpower of Romania here. So Romania has 180 stockpiled and is, you know, drafting, recruiting, whatever, 6 manpower per turn. So if you get to the situation where Germany is low on manpower and you want to have a another unit, you know, a division here come out of the Romanian manpower, this is how you would do it. So you don't necessarily get any negatives by doing this. It needs to have, when you deploy something, well, we're not deploying that, But you need to deploy into an industrial center. So I think Romanian new production would hit either this hex, and I think any one hex next to it for deploy. Hey, Matsulav. I'm sure I'm butchering that. I get Germany might as well keep. Yeah. So yeah, it's feeding into the overall resource thing, and part of the idea is to not so much how many guns or bullets Romania is cranking out, but it's other things like food and other resources that Romania is contributing to the war effort by being here. Basically, we want to, generally speaking, keep Romanian units from being destroyed, and just allowing basic upkeep to come from, because we can see here, Hungary is going to run out of stuff if we don't, because they have more upkeep. Now their upkeep is where is it? Oh, I've got to click out of this. I should just naturally do that. Where isn't some of these? Okay, well these are all up to strength right now, it looks like, but supply, and which will also mean we got to send them oil to operate their air force. Okay, let's see other. I think we're gonna stock up for some. No, we can put another infantry corps into. We have any subs coming? Got 30 more landing ships. It's not like enough forever, but that's enough for the moment, I think. Submarine group, if we were to do that. Yeah, let's do that. We'll do some advanced submarines. I'm talking so much. Okay, we were going to put you out over here. And now that you are resupplied up, let's put you to here. And yeah, we'll send you out to there. Okay, lots of blunders by Gamer. But we did get Alexandria, and we did get Cyprus, which are both good things. So let's see what they can do back to us. That mechanized force that I'm sort of afraid of down there. Okay. Salt advancement for Germany, anti-tank, close support, naval. We took out a convoy, didn't there. Basics, coastal base support. Okay. Fleet has no supplies. I think they're talking about this one. No, that has supplies. Don't know which one they're talking about. We can probably find out. Unit has basic. Oh, up here. Oh, they're out of supply. Okay. Well, my blockading force is going to go back to here to get supplies. And since we're up here, let's. Oh, they're in double secret prevention, attack prevention terrain. So we're not able to really bombard them at all. Hey, Sports Gamer. Good to have you here. I used some of those idle corps in France to invade Vichy, Africa, and Morocco. Maybe. We're starting to starve them out a little bit, hopefully. I'm going to see what happens down here as to move you to a port so that you can better deal with things. Well, the Germans, as we can see, are getting reorganized much better here. Now, if we were to do that, 3-2. Huh. What does supply look now? Like, okay, see, now we're in good supply situations. So what we're gonna do here is move you to here, which will make you in even worse supply if you had any. No, we'll leave them back there for the moment. – 4-1. That was the word attack, I think. And 3-1. There we go. Okay, well, Egypt is at least mostly in our hands now. Costly, but still not terrible. We didn't lose any major units. Okay, split Cyprus Corps into divisions, and then invade Syria with one of them. That's quite possible. The other thing yeah, that probably is maybe what I should do. Okay, here though, let's, since it's just raining and not double secret super rain keeps us from flying. Oh, damn. Undo that. Oh, I can't undo that. Damn. Didn't know it was going to take up all my... Ugh. It was just out of a frustration. Man, this is really slowing me up. Oh, doing so well. And in previous non-watched games, we took that, and they have anything ready to deploy. Just have to keep checking now. I don't want to deploy the airfield until I'm, well, a bit more ready for it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we'll see about that. Okay. Oh, Yugoslavia asked. What's going to happen with Yugoslavia is my understanding, if I can freaking take Greece. Yugoslavia will join the Axis and stay in the Axis and not switch sides on us. There. No, we don't have the action points. Okay. Oh, you're still on ship. That's why. I know it's more attacks, but damn, I'm messing this up. Okay. Yeah, okay, that's a good idea. I wasn't thinking of that. What we're going to do is move it down to here. I think that's our best bet, and we'll push on them from the north. Oh, what we're also going to do here is come over here And for upgrade reinforcement, we're going to go to 150. So that will just make sure that these units will for sure get some levels of reinforcement. What are their supply levels in here? 3, 2, 1. Those aren't good. That's pretty damn good. Yeah, need more railways. Okay, turn the supply off. Okay, well, I think with all the talking you're doing, I know I haven't gotten very far in the game, but it's been very fun talking with people, so I enjoy that a lot. So we're going to end the episode here. I want to thank you all for watching. Thanks for liking the videos. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Of course, I'd love to hear your thoughts and everything. See you next time for more historical gaming. Okay. Well, guys, this experiment worked out nicely with ReStream. I don't know exactly how many people are aware that I've been streaming both on YouTube and Twitch. For attacking Athens. That would be helpful to move that up here. Yeah, that would be helpful. And getting more German units instead of the Italian Corps will help with that. So we're going to end this stream. I may be doing more live streams in the middle of the week in future days. So I don't know if or someday I'll set up a scheduled idea, but for right now it's hit or miss. Saturday and Sunday are my live streaming days that are scheduled, so you can join me then, of course, and we will probably be doing both Twitch and YouTube from now on instead of just one. Okay, thanks everyone. See ya next time or whatever.